Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Francis Tapon. In this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the Sandboxx app. Sandboxx is a website and an app that allows you to send letters, real letters, to a friend or family member who is in the United States military and is currently at bootcamp or basic training. So whether they're at the Marines, Coast Guard, Air Force, Navy, Army, you have a chance to send them a real letter. Now, first of all, you might be thinking, well, why would I want to do that? There's email and there's Snapchat and there's Instagram. Well, hold on. In case you didn't get the memo, nobody gets to have any electronics at any of the basic training programs. Forget that idea. No electronic communication whatsoever. And then you say, well, I'll just call them. Nope, they can't get a phone call. There's no place to get it. They might call you if you're lucky, maybe once or twice, but they've stayed true to the old school method, and I commend them for it, of having absolutely no outside communication. The only way they allow it is for you to write good old-fashioned snail mail. So that's what Sandboxx is. Sandboxx is an application or a website that allows you to craft a letter, including photos, and send it to your loved one out there. And they'll receive it overnight. Or at least that's their claim. So let's get into it. In case you want to find out a little bit more about Sandboxx, you can go into the description down below and find a link that will allow you to sign up for it. So first thing, let's talk about cost. The cost is about $3 to $4 depending on how many tokens you buy. What's a token? A token is basically a letter that you're allowed to send to your loved one who's in the U.S. military. One question you might be wondering is how many words can you put in? It's actually by characters. You have 6,000 characters, and that's roughly about a page and a half of text that you can write. But I think for most people out there, 6,000 characters will be plenty. You might be wondering, who's this good for? Perfect people are people who are living overseas. A lot of people who are at military boot camp are people who are green card holders, and so they have family in Mexico, in Asia, in Africa. And those family members might want to send them a letter, but it's really hard and expensive to send a letter internationally and for it to get there on time. So this is a perfect way to get an overnight letter there. Now, the downside, of course, is that recruit won't be able to write back to them very easily because, of course, the letter is going to cost a lot of postage to get back and it's going to take probably a couple of weeks to get back. So it's not very good for back and forth, but it's certainly a great way to send love. Speaking about love, that's actually what you want to focus on, the content of your letter. You want to make sure that it stays as positive as can be because it's hard to get into the mind of a recruit, but a lot of them can get depressed. They can get homesick. A lot of people are young when they go there. They're 18, 20 years old, and they've never been away from the house, certainly not for that long period of time, certainly not alone, certainly not surrounded by strangers. So it's a totally new experience, and it can be quite depressing and scary for some people. And the last thing you want to do is bring up sad news or bad news and that kind of stuff or criticisms or things like that. So keep it upbeat. Do like a little collage. Take your favorite photos, put it on there, take a picture of their dog or whatever, make it fun. The photos are probably the best thing that they get to see. The letters are great, but I'm sure they love to see the photos and decorate them up. And there's cool things you can put like little icons and things like that allow you to even more personalize and make it more fun. So overall, I'm a big fan of Sandboxx. For $3 to $4 a letter, it's a great deal. Think about it. You're getting it overnight. You're able to put a photo or a collage of photos in there. It's a nice big photos. It's nice to put in multiple pictures instead of just one big picture to really take advantage of it so your recruit can get a lot of things. And you can put things like, I'm proud of my sailor here. They'll get the date. You can put this little logo in there, Great Lakes. Again, every branch has their own little kind of things. You can put a little heart symbol there. Inside the letter, you're going to get this blank place for the sailor or a Marine or whatever the service member is. It's going to have a chance to write back. So that's one of the benefits. So you're going to get this envelope here. If the sailor wants to send something back, you're going to take this blank sheet, and here it has already the return address already there. So all you got to do is get that envelope, write the letter, put it in here, And voila, ready to go. All you gotta do is put a stamp. That's what's missing. You need that damn stamp. And then when you get a letter, your letter is gonna kind of look like this, and you're gonna open it up, and you'll get a personal letter from your recruit. One of the most successful letters I wrote to my wife, who was a recruit in the United States Navy at Great Lakes near Chicago. And she loved my letter that included a bunch of jokes. And it's fun. You can just go on the internet and find all sorts of military jokes. And that's what I was sending her. I was sending her jokes about, making fun of different branches and that kind of stuff. And the fun thing is, of course, since it's on a computer, you can just literally copy and paste the joke right into the letter. You don't have to handwrite it all over again. So that makes it a little bit more efficient and fast. And for them, it's just great because they're going to get this letter and you just got to get into their mind. They're tired. They're exhausted. They've been yelled at all day. They've been screamed at. They've got a lot of stress. And, what they would love to do is just sit back, open up a letter and laugh. And that would be great. Tell them about maybe their pet that they have or something like that. So that's kind of the content you want to do. Now, as far as their overnight claim, in general, yes, it does get their overnight. Sort of. Sandboxx fulfills its side of the bargain for the most part because they give you a cutoff, a certain time of you got to get your letter in by this certain time. I can't remember. I think it's like 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then it will get there the very next day. Yes and no. Most of these places have a lot of mail. They get a ton of mail. So, for example, let's just take the Navy because that's what I'm experienced at. Great Lakes is the only place that trains sailors versus the Army has several bases. So I'm not sure how the Army processing works. I think the Marines only have a couple of places. The point is that they have mail processing centers and they have a deluge of mail that they have to process through. And so chances are that it's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to take 2 days, maybe 3 days to actually get into your physical recruit's hands. Sandboxx doesn't just allow you to write letters, but they also throw in a couple of extras in there. You can send them stamps, for example, which is quite useful because, of course, that saves them not just money, but the hassle of having to go find and buy the stamps. So that's a useful gift to throw in there. That way they can write back to you easily. Second of all, they have something called a newsletter. And it's an off-duty and on-duty newsletter. Stuff about the military, stuff about things that are outside the military's purview. Now, the on-duty newsletter looks like this. It tells you about Russia threatens war in Ukraine. This is actually old news, but it's not double-sided. It has some cool, kind of small font. Here's some of the additional updates from around the force. China sends aircraft carrier strike group near Okinawa in message to the US and Japan. Remember, they're completely disconnected. They have no idea what's going on. I'm sure that during the terrorist attacks of September 11th, they probably did find that out, but that's about the level of news that it has to be for them to get it. For the most part, they're completely oblivious. So that's a nice way. It comes once a week. It's a nice little thing, and it's a lot of text to read. Keeps them busy. They can pass it around. The other thing is the motivational things, and that comes, I think, 5 days a week. It's basically a daily motivational letter. Now, this is a motivational quote newsletter. Let's open it up, and it looks like that. Stronger than yesterday. This is another example of a motivation letter. 1 year, 365 opportunities. It's simple. It's one way, but it's great for people who are busy. And you might want to write to your recruit every day, but you either don't have that much to say to them, but you just want to let them know that you're thinking about them. And so I like those daily motivations because it's quick, it's easy, get it. Yeah, it wastes a lot of paper just to say one thing, but maybe they can take their favorite ones and hang it up, for example, or put it by inside their book so that they can look at it every day and remember it. And it's not that expensive. And you think about it, would you spend $1 a day just to say, hey, hi, how you doing? You're doing all right? I'm thinking about you. In that sense, I think those daily ones are worth it. Now, I ended up writing dozens and dozens of letters, but don't expect them to write you back because, again, they are utterly, utterly spent and exhausted by the end of the day. They may not even have time to sit there and write you. So don't get offended. that you might be writing a letter every single day, sending all these letters nice and faithful and true, and you get nothing back. Don't panic. That's okay. They're just overwhelmed at the moment. But if you do want to get letters back, make it easy on them. Send them a stamp. One time there was a snowstorm in Great Lakes in Chicago, and the mail got delayed for over a week. And luckily, Sandboxx did give everybody, I think, a credit or two or something like that, a free token, something like that. And that brings up a nice thing about Sandboxx that I really love about them. Their customer service is kick-ass. It is amazing. They are always responsive. They always give you the benefit of the doubt. So if you bitch and moan and complain about something, they're going to trust you on it, and they'll often reimburse you with a free token and say, hey, sorry about that screw up of ours. Here you go. It's happened to me a couple of times, so I commend them because they are good to work with. One of the cool things about Sandboxx is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a recruit who's at one of the recruit stations, the official commands. No, you can use this to send a letter to them anywhere. So if they happen to have finished Bootcamp, and let's say you have 3 or 4 tokens left and you haven't used all the letters that you've bought beforehand, you could send them to a regular address, any address. I think in the United States, as well as those overseas addresses that are military overseas, U.S. military overseas address. So that's really useful. One thing that I found a little bit annoying is that my wife is in San Diego. Right now I'm in Senegal in Africa, so I was able to send her letters, but the application would constantly change her zip code to the Marine military base in San Diego, thinking that I had done a typo with the letter. And so they did like an autocorrect of the zip code, which was annoying because the letter didn't get there and it got sent back to me. Look carefully at that zip code if you're going to send it to a non-military base address, because it's possible that they will change it on you. And you, when they say, hey, there's something wrong with this address, make sure you read it carefully and just contact customer service. It's a nice little pop-up thing, and they respond pretty quickly to get that done. So that's one little tip for you. This is the only time in your life that you're probably ever going to write a damn letter, old-fashioned way. So why don't you just splurge and enjoy it? And your recruit's going to love it and will always remember and thank you. So let's bring out the highlights and the key points to remember, because you might be saying, oh, $3-4 for a letter, that's a bit expensive. You know, a stamp and the envelope and all that stuff, that costs less than $1. Why should I be paying all that much money? Hold on. Let's review the benefits. 6 key benefits. Number 1, it's overnight. And yeah, we talked about the technicalities. It may not actually get there overnight, but the bottom line is it's a whole lot faster than a first class mail stamp. Number 2, you can track it. And that's one thing that's very useful, because you might be wondering, did the letter actually get there? I have no idea. This way you can find out. Number 3, you get a cool color photo. That's a lot of ink that you got to use up on your own printer if you want to do it yourself. It's all done on premium quality paper, both your letter and the photo that comes in there. Number 4 is that it comes with its own envelope already there. Your recruit doesn't have to fill out anything. It's already there. Doesn't have to search around for an envelope. It's ready to go. It's already pre-addressed right back to you. Perfect. And number 5, it comes with its own blank sheets of paper already there. Super convenient. And the 6th thing is you don't ever have to go to the post office. You never have to go buy stationery or do any of that stuff. You just sit back on your computer. You can be relaxing. You can be driving. You can be at work, whatever. And bam, you can write out a quick little message and it all gets taken care of. Everything soup to nuts. That is the price for convenience. And they have great customer service. It really makes a big difference. I suggest, since this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, go splurge occasionally on it, and you can mix it up with, let's say, greeting cards or just regular mail. You can do a little bit of both. Or maybe you can just have a few of these Sandboxx letters as reserve in case you ever need to get an urgent message out there. Somebody just had a baby. You can use that BAM as a quick way to send out a quick message to somebody that you really care about who's right now serving the United States military. I hope that's helpful. If so, go down and use the link below. Full disclosure, it's an affiliate link, so I get a little token as appreciation from Sandboxx, but don't let that affiliate link fool you. I've given you an objective review. I've shipped off dozens and dozens of letters with Sandboxx, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't believe in what they do. And I think they provide a fantastic service. And I think A lot of people should take advantage of it. Go ahead, make your recruit really happy, bring a smile to their face. Sign up for that daily motivation letter or the Bible verses, whichever one you want. It comes 5 days a week. It's worth it. Get the Dispatch newsletter. It's once a week, every Friday. It's worth it. This is it. This is their one time in their life that they're ever going to go through boot camp or basic training. This is the time where you want to go all out. This may be the only time in your life that you're going to have to write letters regularly. So splurge, have fun. This is Francis Tapon encouraging you to wander and learn and to thank your recruit for their service in the United States military.